Bloomington at 101.9 W270BR Island Pond. The Brady Farkas Show is produced and funded by WDEV and the Radio Vermont Group. We welcome listener feedback. Email your comments to WDEV at radiovermont.com.
Energy. So the barber trims my beard all nice, like an artist. Now, I didn't tell him to do that. I wanted the beard gone. So then I went home and shaved it off completely after I was done. I felt horrible.
The passion.
Rafael Devers is the biggest contract in franchise history. He needs to be a leader for this Red Sox team.
The opinions on all your favorite teams.
Are the Patriots close to playoff contention? Yes. Are they close to Super Bowl contention? Hell no.
This is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
What's up, everybody? Brady Farkas Show back at it here on a Tuesday on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. We're brought to you by Fecto Homes. We go up until 6:10, and then it's Red Sox baseball. You can get on in 585-3026. That's 802-585-3026. We got 40 minutes. We'll talk Red Sox. I'll tell you my thoughts on the Aaron Judge situation, which I know you've heard about today. And then we will get kind of an early look at Heat and Celtics game 1 is tomorrow. The Western Conference kicks off tonight. But again, 802-585-3026. No guests on the show today. We will have guests tomorrow. We'll have Tom Caron I'll speak to. We'll speak to Freddie Coleman. Not sure which one's going to be live yet at this point, but I will have an answer for that one for you by the time we are here tomorrow. So looking forward to talking with both of them. We'll have Buster on Thursday. But with these short shows, we don't always need a guest. So it's just me and you on the text line. Let's do it.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, the opening thoughts in the Brady Farkas Show were brought to you by Sticks and Stuff and by Swanton Lumber, Vermont's most complete locally owned home center with locations in Enosburg, Derby, Middlesex, St. Albans, and at Swanton Lumber. They're online at sticksandstuff.com. The Boston Red Sox are in a critical part of their season, and I hadn't quite realized it, but what the Red Sox do over the next week and a half is going to have a huge bearing on their season. You look at the Red Sox, they're in a homestand right now where they've lost 4 consecutive games. They have lost 6 of their last 7 games total, right? I thought the Red Sox were an average team, right? I said, look, the Red Sox are better than a lot of you think they are. I still said I thought the Red Sox were average, but a lot of you had them below average. They go win 8 straight. Now they've lost 6 of 7, and they're 22-20, and they're proving to be what? Kind of average. So they are kind of exactly what we thought they were. They're just kind of getting there in a different way. But if the Red Sox want this to be some kind of magical run, this is a critical stretch of their season. Because after these 2 games with the Mariners, they're going to go out west, and they're going to go out west for a daunting 9-game trip. 9 games out west. Different time zones, really good teams, or at least teams that are really talented, and teams that are up and coming. They're going to be at the Padres for 3, at the Angels for 3, and at the Diamondbacks for 3. Now, the Diamondbacks, not a lot of us follow. I couldn't tell you a whole lot about them either, to be perfectly honest with you. Zach Gallen is phenomenal. Christian Walker's having a great year at first. Ketel Marte is exciting. Corbin Carroll's great. Beyond that, I couldn't tell you a lot about Arizona. But San Diego is one of the most talented teams in baseball, and they haven't put it together yet, but there's a chance they put it together for you. The Angels, at the very least, have Ohtani and Trout. They're still over 500 also. They are in their part of the year where they are above 500. A lot of people think the Angels will fold. They have not folded yet. So the Red Sox, this homestand was supposed to be a gift, was it not? You get 3 with the last place Cardinals. You get 3 with the Mariners, who came into this series in 4th place, still are in 4th place in the AL West. This was supposed to be a gift. You are 0-4. You have to do what you can to salvage these next 2 games against Seattle. Maybe you're able to win 2. Maybe you're able to win 1. But you've got to salvage something, because the 9 games after this are going to dictate a lot of your season moving forward. As far as I'm concerned, this road trip to the West Coast is going to have It only has two possible outcomes: 2-7 or 7-2. I don't think the Red Sox will go 4-5. I don't think they'll go 5-4. They're either going to go into the West Coast on the heels of getting blasted in this homestand, and they're going to continue to scuffle, or they're going to go into the West Coast on the heels of this homestand, have the closed door players meeting, and turn it around and go 7-2 and send the Padres further into tailspin and send the Angels into their tailspin. There's only one of two ways this goes. This is a critical stretch of the Red Sox season. Right now, the Red Sox are, again, they are 22-20. Let's just say they split with Seattle the next 2 days. Okay, let's just say they split. They're 23-21. If they go 7-2 on the West Coast swing, they're going to be 30-23. And you know what? That's a damn good record. And that shows you as we get towards June 1st, after this road trip, it will be near June 1st. If the Red Sox are 30-23 near June 1st, whoo, boy, you're starting to talk about buyers at the deadline, starting to talk about early trades, you're starting to talk about excitement. They're going to be in a wild card position. If they're 23-21 and then go 2-7, they're going to be 23-28. And you're going to start to hear about, okay, well, we're in last place in the division, and we are, okay, this far out of the wild card, and now Baltimore's ahead, and Tampa's ahead, Toronto's ahead, the Yankees are ahead, Seattle's ahead, the Angels are ahead, Texas is ahead, Houston's ahead, and all of a sudden we're looking like we're one of the bottom feeders in the American League at this point. And if you're one of the bottom feeders in the American League, you're starting to think, okay, are we the team that's going to get out front, and are we going to sell? Look, there's not a lot of sellers at the trade deadline. There's not going to be a lot of sellers at the trade deadline. Buster Olney told us that. Buster's right. There's so many teams kind of in it or around it. Not a lot of teams are just willingly going to sell off. And some of the teams who would willingly sell off don't have a lot that you would want, right? So there's not that many sellers. So maybe the Red Sox, if they're 23-28, they just get out in front of it and say, you know what? Okay, we're gonna sell off some guys here. We can sell off Kike Hernandez, and we can just play Mondesi when he comes back, and we can sell off Duvall, who's on a 1-year deal. Let him come off the injured list. Boom. We haven't played with him anyways. We'll just give the job to Duran. I mean, so there's a lot that can happen here for the Red Sox over the course of that 9-game West Coast trip. 2-7 is one thing. 7-2 is one thing. I had kind of undersold how big this stretch was because I was so focused on the homestand, but that West Coast trip can absolutely start to determine where your season goes at this point. Again, if you're 30-23, you are full steam ahead. If you're 23-28, you're like, oh my goodness gracious. Actually, let me see. I'm sorry. You'd be 25-28. Excuse me. Right? If you're 23-21 and then go 2-7, yeah, you'd be 25-28. So you're not selling off everything, but you're starting to think like, all right, Kansas City's a seller. We know that. They got a couple pieces guys would want. But Oakland, no one wants. Detroit, not many people want guys there. We can get in front of this thing. And that's an interesting position for the Boston Red Sox to be in. This road trip coming up is huge. You've got to start winning here. It's not to save your season, but to keep yourself in buying mode. Text says, we were just celebrating Kenley Jansen and how good this Red Sox team looks. Since then, the team and Kenley have unraveled. It's Peter and Williston. It's fair. It's absolutely fair. On Thursday, we came in last week. We talked about Kenley getting his 400th career save and how dominant he looked. Now, you've blown 2 saves, 2 games that should have been wins. Then you've been blown out twice. And you're guaranteed a losing homestand. Even if they win the next 2 games against Seattle, they're guaranteed a losing homestand. Seattle has the pitching advantage, at least tonight. I don't know about tomorrow, but at least tonight in Castillo against Pivetta, it's a clear Mariners advantage. Doesn't mean the Mariners will win, but you're staring down the possibility, the likelihood at this point of 1-5 or worse on this homestand going into this 9-game West Coast swing. It is not easy to be an East Coast team going west. It's not easy to be a West Coast team going east either. But certainly it is not easy to go. We saw what happened at the start of 2019, right? Red Sox started out, Mariners in Arizona, in Oakland, I think, to start the season. They were like 2-7 or 2-8 when they came back east, and the season was over. So you've absolutely, this is tough here. This is gut check time for the Red Sox. The Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. I want to talk about this Yankees story and Aaron Judge here. Because here we are, Tuesday night, right? Monday night against the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays broadcasters insinuated that Aaron Judge might be cheating. And I'll play you the audio here in a second if you haven't heard this. But Dan Schulman, you hear him a lot on ESPN. He's great. Buck Martinez, former Blue Jays manager. They're the broadcasters for the Blue Jays. They noticed that Aaron Judge was in the box and his eyes were wandering. It was very, very clear to see his eyes were wandering. The question is, what is he looking at and why? Is he looking back at the catcher? Is he looking at the dugout? Is he sneaking something at the first base coach? Are they stealing signs? Is it electronic? That's the crux of this. Here is how the Blue Jays broadcast team brought it up yesterday. And by the way, remember, Judge had a homer already in this game, and eventually he homered in this at-bat as well. Dan Schulman, Buck Martinez on Blue Jays television.
All right, Buck, so you and I looked at each other at the same moment right when we saw this 3 pitches ago.
Watch what he's looking at.
Yeah. What is that?
Where's he looking?
Where's he looking? And he did it more than once.
Yeah, it's really, really unusual. When you and I both looked at each other when we saw that.
Like, did you see what I saw? And you don't want to go, throwing allegations around without knowing, but
no. And you know what? I have had guys look back when I was catching, and you obviously could see it. And he couldn't see the catcher with the way he was looking right there.
Yeah, just did it again. And he popped.
So you have a situation where you can clearly see it on video. Aaron Judge does look somewhere and then proceeds to hit a ball a country mile, over 400 feet to dead center field. After the game, Judge said that he was looking at the dugout because he didn't like what his teammates were saying. No one believes that. This morning, Buster Olney came out and said the Blue Jays believe that it's their fault, that they were tipping something, no big deal. And then later in the day, the Blue Jays apparently came out and said they think the Yankees coaches, the base coaches, first and third base, are standing in inappropriate spots and therefore might be stealing signs. So there's a lot going on here. I will just say right off the bat, I do not believe that Aaron Judge is cheating. I do not believe that Aaron Judge is guilty of anything here. So I'm going to exonerate Judge. I do believe that the Yankees coaches can be guilty of something and they should be monitored. So let's examine what's happening here. The Blue Jays catcher, Alejandro Kirk, is using PitchCom. He's not putting signs down. So the idea of Judge looking back at the catcher to steal the signs from the catcher, that's non-existent, right? Kirk is using PitchCom. Judge can't see fingers because there's no fingers being used. So that's out. Could Judge be looking back at Kirk to see where he is set up? He could, but I don't believe that's the case because Aaron Judge is clearly not looking at an angle behind him. He's kind of clearly looking towards the dugout. He's not looking backwards, which is where he would have to see or have to be looking to see Kirk in his location. So I don't believe that's it. What I believe is happening is that Aaron Judge is looking at the dugout. I do believe the Yankees are cheating here. Now, it is a mild form of cheating, but cheating nonetheless. And therefore, I think it should be monitored. What I believe has happened is that you have the first base coach box, third base coach's box. I saw the still shot when Judge was at the plate. The Yankee coaches are standing behind those boxes. They are standing behind them and inside them, basically further back and closer to the bags, therefore giving themselves a better look at the catcher. I think they have seen something with the catcher, probably where he's setting up, And somehow they're relaying it to the dugout and Judge is getting it from them. So I believe that moving forward into, tonight's game here on this Tuesday, that the Yankee coaches should be made to stay in the box. And that's that. I do not believe that Aaron Judge is stealing signs electronically. I do not believe the Yankees are stealing signs electronically. I believe that the Yankee coaches have picked up something by virtue of where they are standing. And again, that I am all for stealing signs. If you can steal signs legally, if you can crack someone's code, I am all for it. I think that's good fun. It's been around for 100 years. I think stealing signs is an art form. I think what the Yankees are doing by standing in the wrong spot, I have done it myself. It is cheating because you're outside of the coach's box. It should be monitored, but it is about the most mild form of cheating that there is. I do not believe that Aaron Judge should be thrown at. I do not believe that the Yankees should be thrown at. I believe that the umpire should just come in and legislate this today and say, okay, you have to stand in the box. You cannot be standing out of it, right? We legislate where the players stand as far as defensive positioning. We're going to legislate where the coaches stand for the New York Yankees. Aaron Judge was asked today about the comments from Dan Schulman and Buck Martinez. He said he had some choice words for them, but he would keep them to himself. That's probably smart. I get why Judge is upset. I get why Judge is annoyed at being insinuated that he's a cheater. I do not think that he's a cheater. I think at the end of the day, every team is looking for an advantage, right? And if that advantage is gotten legally, then it's perfectly fine, right? If an NFL defense watched film all week and picked up what a team's audibles are, that wouldn't be a problem, right? We'd be applauding them for what they did during film study. If that could be done during baseball, I'd be fine with that as well. My problem is if the Yankees coaches are standing in the wrong spot and that's how they're gaining the advantage. Again, standing in this spot versus 5 feet back is about as mild as it gets, but it is still cheating. But I do not think that Aaron Judge is a cheater. I do not think the Yankees are stealing signs electronically. I think that is the most important thing. I get why Judge is mad. I respect Dan Schulman and Buck Martinez a lot. I think that they tried to kind of, curb the conversation. They didn't want to go there, but they brought up a worthwhile talking point that might lead here to the Blue Jays getting the Yankees to have to stand at a certain spot. So I don't have a huge issue with anything that went on earlier in the day after I heard Buster say, the Blue Jays think this is our fault. Then I was like, okay, the story's over. But then hours later, when we find out that the Blue Jays are telling the league, like, hey, we think the Yankees are gaining an unfair advantage standing in this spot, well, then the situation is a story again. And when I looked at the still photo, like the Blue Jays are right. Again, not the worst thing I've ever seen, not what the Astros did, but still worthwhile of a change in protocol at the field tonight and moving forward. It's the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, WDEVradio.com. Texter says, I am not trying to disparage Judge either. I agreed it seemed above board with competitive edge. Yeah, I don't think it's the worst thing I've ever seen. I think the Yankees are standing in the wrong spot. I don't think anybody needs to get hit over it. It is just slightly nefarious. And I think Judge is not the guy leading this thing. I think the coaches are the ones leading it as well. Right now it's 5:48. Red Sox baseball begins at 6:10. I want to get the early word on the Miami Heat and Celtics series, and then a crazy thought from our friend Kendrick Perkins. That's next on DEV.
Miami single or double wide homes? Visit Fecto Homes, where they can guarantee you top dollar for your existing mobile home, regardless of the year. They offer many finance options with competitive rates and down payment assistance exclusively for mobile homes. Fecto Homes has several models for sale off the lot or customize and order your own. Make the most of your time and money. Visit them today at 350 River Street, Route 302 in Montpelier, or online at fectohomes.com. They're a
many reasons why the Country Club of Barrie is one of Golf Magazine's top 5 courses in Vermont. Here are a few. The Country Club of Barrie is a scenic course of rolling hills, providing a challenging and rewarding experience for all levels of golfers. No need to travel to purchase your golf needs. The Country Club of Barrie has a fully stocked pro shop with golf equipment from major brands like Titleist, Ping, and TaylorMade. The Country Club of Barrie offers lessons and junior clinics, indoor and outdoor dining for you to enjoy food and beverages before and after your round of golf. The Country Club of Barrie prides itself on the maintenance of their immaculate greens and newly installed tee boxes. As a member-owned club and pro shop, the Country Club of Barrie profits go right back into the club. See for yourself why Central Vermont golfers list the Country Club of Barrie as a must-play course. For more information and to book your tee time online, go to ccofbarrie.com or call the pro shop 802-476-7658.
The WDEV studio is sponsored by Sticks and Stuff and Swan Lumber, Vermont's largest independent home center, powered by Marvin Doors and Windows. Go to sticksandstuff.com for store locations and hours.
Local businesses advertise with WDEV because they get results. Brian Bittner of Bittner Antiques shares his experience advertising with WDEV.
We've done a number of recorded ads with WDEV, which have a great response, and we've also been doing live radio call-ins once a week for the past few years, and the response of that has just been amazing.
Interested in advertising on WDEV? Contact us at WDEV@radiovermont.com. Do you love a bargain? Then the WDEV Trading Post online marketplace is for you. Get great deals on goods and services from local businesses, furniture, gift certificates, recreation discounts. You'll never know what you'll find. All deals are at a reduced price. Save money, and maybe you'll discover something new. The offerings and prices are constantly changing, so check back regularly at Trading Post Marketplace.
Join WDEV as we broadcast live from Nelson Ace Hardware Saturday, May 27th for the Stars and Stripes Barbecue Party. Stop by and see grill demos, sign up to win prizes, and sample some tasty treats. The Stars and Stripes Barbecue Party Saturday, May 27th, 11 to 1 at Nelson Ace Hardware, Main Street, Barrie. Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show right here on DEV. There's a guy who I rarely agree with, okay? There was a guy who I rarely agree with on WEEI in Boston. His name is Adam Jones. We play his audio every now and then here, and he's interesting. He has things to say. I just tend to disagree with him. That's perfectly fine. That's what the business is built on. But he said something about the Celtics and Heat series that I actually completely agree with today. It might be the first thing I've ever totally agreed with him saying. Here was his assessment of the Celtics and the Heat Eastern Conference Finals, which begins tomorrow.
Talent-wise does not match up with Boston. But you'd be making a mistake to just look at it that way, because Atlanta talent-wise didn't match up with Boston. Philly was closer than I gave him credit for, and I'll still stand by that. Maxey was really good in this series. Embiid, in some games, played up. Harden disappeared in games 6 and 7. He was bad in games 2 and 3, but the 3 Philly wins, he was really good in all those games. Philly was closer in talent than I gave him credit for. I don't think there's a team in the NBA that measures up with the Celtics talent-wise. So the issue won't be talent. The issue is, do the Celtics play down to their level of opponent? They've done it before.
That is the fear. Okay, that's the fear. I said I think the Celtics are going to win this game in 5, based on or win this series in 5. Based on talent, they should win in 5. The only thing that can derail the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals is lack of effort or lack of focus. That's it. If the Celtics come out with focus, aggressiveness, and intensity like they did in Game 7, they are going to roll Miami, because Miami is not as good as they are. Jimmy Butler is phenomenal. He is not going to be able to do it all on his own. Jimmy Butler is not going to get 54 or whatever it was he got in the Milwaukee series. He's not going to be able to do that, and he's not going to be able to put the cape on and carry this team. Talent-wise, they do not stand a chance against the Celtics. The only thing that can derail the Celtics is attitude, effort, and lack of intensity. If they let Miami stick around, then anything can happen. The worst thing that can happen to the Celtics is they loaf through the first 3 quarters. We go to the fourth at, 93-91, and then you see if Jimmy can have an outstanding fourth quarter for closing time. If the Celtics come out, game 1, punch them in the mouth, and are up 28-16 at the end of the first, Miami is not coming back from that. I agree 1,000% with what Adam Jones just said right there. It's not about talent. It's about playing down to your competition. Now, the Heat have good things. The Heat have culture. They have toughness. They have intensity. They're going to try their hardest. They are not. Here's the thing. The Celtics can only be beaten, I think, by lack of effort. Miami will not lose because of lack of effort. They are going to play hard. And if they're down, they're going to keep coming. So Miami, intensity is not the question for them. It's going to be talent. The Celtics' talent has to overwhelm their intensity. Texter says, I think Spoelstra and Jimmy Buckets get a win apiece for Miami. That's why I said Celtics in 6 games. I think the Celtics win in 5. I think the Celtics win 2 in Boston. I think they win 1 in Miami. I think they come back and they close it out. Scott in South Hero, he's talking about Aaron Judge. Yeah, he says that, yes, Aaron Judge said after the game he was, commenting to the Yankees dugout. He didn't like what they were saying. That's what I said. Nobody believes that. Okay, nobody believes that. Aaron Judge was getting signed. He was getting something relayed to him. I just don't think he's the instigator of it. I don't think he's the leader of it. I think it was the Yankees coaches committing improprieties, standing 5 feet back further than they're supposed to. I think that's fairly easy to legislate, and I think we all move on. That's what I think. I don't think that Aaron Judge is a cheater. I think he was getting something fed to him that was just slightly below board. Back to the NBA. Celtics have the talent. Only thing that can derail them is effort. Miami has the effort. If the Celtics come out and play up to their capability, though, it's not going to matter. Celtics should win this in 5. Texter also says, Brady, you were right about Doc Rivers getting fired in Philly. Yeah, you knew that was coming. That's the way the NBA is. Okay, the NBA is a drama-filled soap opera. Monty Williams, the last 3 years, 3 most wins in the NBA, Sixers, Bucks, and Suns. All 3 fired their coaches this year. Okay, this is what happens in the NBA. In the NBA, when you've been delivered what is thought to be a ready-made title team and you don't deliver a title, you're out. Mike Budenholzer, you won 1. Thanks for your service. Gone. Monty Williams, we're not even going to give you a full year with Kevin Durant. You didn't win it. You're gone. Doc Rivers, you had 3 years. Gone. That's the way the NBA works. They saw it coming from a mile away. The thing I would have a question about, honestly, is what does Joel Embiid think? Because after the game on Sunday, Joel Embiid said he liked Doc Rivers and he thought Doc Rivers did a good job. Was Joel Embiid consulted and on board with this? I'm not in favor of giving the star player all of the control. I'm not. But I do think in the NBA, along with quarterback, who's under a long-term contract, those guys deserve to be heard. And James Harden's not coming back to Philly. I don't think James Harden loves Doc, but it doesn't matter because James Harden's going to be gone. So if Embiid liked Doc, I'm surprised that they got rid of him. Kendrick Perkins, by the way, I don't have time to get into this fully today. Kendrick Perkins said that the 76ers should go after Kyrie Irving now. Please go after Kyrie Irving. If the Sixers go after Kyrie Irving, they will no longer be a threat. If the Sixers get Kyrie Irving, that will be one less threat for the Celtics next year. And we'll be looking again at Milwaukee and Miami and Cleveland probably. I don't really fear the Knicks, at least as presently constructed. I don't fear a Kyrie Irving-led Sixers team with Embiid. I don't fear Brooklyn. I fear Cleveland. I fear Milwaukee. And then Miami when they get their guys healthy, at least Tyler Hero. I don't know that Victor Oladipo is ever going to be whole again. But go right ahead. Get Kyrie Irving. You want to torpedo yourself, your season before it starts? Go right ahead. Didn't work for the Celtics. Didn't work for Dallas. Didn't work for Brooklyn. It's not going to work for you either. It worked for LeBron 1 year, barely. That was it. It's not going to work with Kyrie. And that version of Kyrie was a lot different than this version. It's not going to work. Red Sox lineups against the Mariners, game 2 next.
Is WDEV, Vermont's news station, owned and operated by the Radio Vermont Group. From the top of Sugarbush, 96.1 FM, WDEV Warren Waitsfield, 96.5 W243 Barrie, 98.3 W252 CU Montpelier, along with our founding station, AM 550 WDEV Waterbury Montpelier, streaming at WDEVradio.com. 91 years of serving Vermont, the friendly pioneer, WDEV.
Jesus Christ!
Antonio's in Washington.
It is possible to get a deal by the end of the week. It's not that difficult to get to an agreement.
The leaders are honing in on possible areas of agreement, including rescinding unspent COVID relief money and areas where there's a wider gap, like beefing up work requirements for government aid recipients and student debt relief.
It was a good and productive meeting. Everyone agreed that default would be the worst outcome.
And Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen agrees.
The default could cause widespread suffering as Americans lose the income they need to get by.
She says default could lead to a recession. Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett slammed House Republicans today about their efforts to combat crime while allowing George Santos to keep his seat.
But have they exhibited any courage to say, you know what, we will disallow this in our body. We will make sure that we expel this individual. They have not.
Santos was indicted on 13 federal crimes last week. Democrats have moved to force a vote on his expulsion. Rudy Giuliani is denying sexual assault claims by a former employee. Here's CBS's Matt Piper.
It's a $10 million lawsuit filed by his former employee, Noelle Dunphy, who was hired in 2019. Dunphy alleges that Giuliani would often take performance-enhancing drugs and expose himself. Dunphy says she has photos, texts, and recordings.
Police in New Mexico still don't have a motive for yesterday's shooting in Farmington, but say the 18-year-old gunman had a history of mental health issues. Deputy Police Chief Kyle Dowdy.
We have come across an indication that potentially he has some mental health issues, and that's through interviews with involved parties in his life. It's about as far as I can go from that, but there have, in subsequent interviews, there have been some concern about his mental health.
He killed 3 people while randomly shooting at homes and cars. The creators of ChatGPT want Congress to crack down on AI. CEO Sam Altman.
I think if this technology goes wrong, it can go quite wrong, and we want to be vocal about that. We want to work with the government to prevent that from happening.
Well, in case you missed it, the Philadelphia 76ers have fired Coach Doc Rivers. The move comes days after Philly lost to the Boston Celtics in its 3rd straight exit in the second round of the playoffs.
Are you planning to be the coach of the team next year?
Yeah, I think I got 2 years left.
At the time, he also said no one is safe in the NBA. Today, the team thanked Doc, but said the change was necessary to play for a championship. This is CBS News.
Find your next great hire with Indeed. Their hiring platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all at the same place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different how? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from.
And I can say that, number 9 and 10, your features. You have some moments in there that'll redeem your whatever. Your role as the starter as the Chicago Bulls. But it did omit people. Ronnie Harper didn't get much credit. Because Steve Kerr's a known entity, he got a lot of credit in a 7th game against Indiana in that series that year, whereas Tony Kukoc was really the outstanding player. People forgot Tony was starting and Dennis Rodman was coming off the bench in a couple of the last 2 series in that last dance year. So there's some things that get lost in the process. And it was, a lot of it was Michael's version of what went on.
The company says people are complaining of minor to severe skin burns and irritation. The device is shaped like a silicone penguin, and it monitors chest temperatures of kids up to 6 years old. Officials warn it could also leak dangerous chemicals. Monica Ricks, CBS News.
Make your opinion heard by texting onto the Brady Farkas Show at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM and WDEVradio.com.
Red Sox baseball 5 minutes from now. This is the Brady Farkas Show, brought to you by Fecto Homes on WDEV. Weather is crazy out there right now here in Waterbury. Just looked outside briefly at the commercial break. The rain is coming down. The temperature is going to drop like 30 degrees. Between what it was a high of 70, it's going to get down into the 20s tonight, or 20s tomorrow, maybe 20s tonight, overnight, 50 degrees potentially. Crazy. Right now the temperature is what? It is 53. It's dropped 17 degrees in the last hour. It was like 70 like an hour ago. It's 53 right now. So everybody do be careful out there. And again, dress for it because it is going to be chilly. Red Sox Mariners tonight coming up just a couple minutes from now. This matchup is interesting. Mariners have the distinct advantage on the mound. Luis Castillo is a stud. That said, he has not been a stud over his last 4 outings. You look at the overall numbers, he's 2-1 with a 2.70. But he had like a 0.2 ERA or something through his first 4 starts. He's got an ERA of like 4.5 over his last 4. So he's been able to be gotten. The issue for Luis Castillo lately has been just missing his spots, right? Missing his spots, deeper in counts, one bad inning, and teams able to capitalize. The Red Sox, again, have an offense, at least at the top of the order, that's capable of making a pitcher work. We saw them do it against Kevin Gausman, right? They killed Kevin Gausman. If they can get to Castillo, at least not necessarily even get to him, if they can ride up the pitch count, and he does not throw as many strikes as Kirby does, he might be able to get out after 5 innings instead of 6 2/3 like Kirby was, and you get a chance to run him from the game. Verdugo, Devers, Turner, obviously Yoshida, all of them are capable of putting together good at-bats. Bottom of the order, I would think, is less likely to put together good at-bats. Doesn't mean they won't, but Castillo on Casas and Valdez, McGuire and Reyes, I think that would be a tough uphill climb for the Red Sox. But the top 5th of the order, I feel pretty good about if I were the Red Sox. As for Pivetta pitching for the Red Sox, man, this guy, he's fighting to stay in his rotation. He's fighting to stay in the rotation. Right? The Red Sox are not going to keep a 6-man rotation forever. Pivetta does not want to go to the bullpen. He is fighting for his rotation life. And I do not know how this is going to go. Pivetta has good stuff. Mid-90s fastball, a devastating hook. Mariners, they are exactly what I told you they were, right? They get themselves out when you throw the ball over the plate. How carved them up for the first 4 innings yesterday. If Pivetta walks guys, he's going to be made to pay because the Mariners have some power. If he just throws the ball over the plate, they will strike out. They will get themselves out. Pivetta needs to attack the zone. If he's going down, go down swinging. I believe if he just puts the ball over the plate, he will have success today. What he can't do is fall behind, walk guys, and then surrender a 3-run homer. That's what he's done too far this year. It's why he's got an ERA of 6.23. Lineups. J.P. Crawford at shortstop for the M, sitting 248. Ty France up to 277 is at first. Julio Rodriguez is still scuffling average-wise, but he had a double yesterday. He's in center. Jared Kelenich's in left. He had a multi-hit game yesterday. Eugenio Suarez, who had the big homer yesterday late, he's at third. Cal Raleigh, those Vermont ties, is the catcher Teoscar Hernandez is in right. Taylor Trammell, the DH. Colton Wong is at second. For the Sox, Verdugo in right. Masataka Yoshida back in there in left. Justin Turner, the DH. Rafi Devers at third. Jaron Duran in center. Casas at first and Manuel Valdez at second. Reese McGuire is the catcher and Pablo Reyes is the shortstop. Hopefully Reyes doesn't have to pitch again today. That was ugly yesterday. I think he hit 38 miles an hour. Pablo Reyes hit yesterday in that ninth inning, if you were still watching at that point. It was ugly, that's for sure. Ugly 10-1 loss yesterday for the Sox. They've been beaten 10-1 and 9-1 in consecutive games. John Schreiber to the injured list. Brendan Bernardino sent down to AAA. So I think Caleb Ort is back with the team that just came out here to fill out the bullpen. There's another guy, too, named Garza, who last pitched for Cleveland. We'd never seen him before in a Sox uniform. See you tomorrow.